If you live in or If you live in or plan to visit the great state of South Carolina and you find yourself anywhere near the Myrtle Beach area, you owe it to yourself to check out Mr. Clippers at Heads Up Cuts and Styles Barbershop and Salon, located at 110 El Bethel Road in the big city of Conway, South Carolina. I'm talking about the place where great staff, great atmosphere, and professionalism all come together. Yes, it's definitely a vibe. We service all ages and all hair types. To book an appointment, just head on over to mrclippers.booksy.com. Again, that's mrclippers.booksy.com. You can check out my work, you can check cost of services, and most importantly, check out those reviews. Man, I'm telling you, 5 stars. Listen, as a licensed professional barber with over 20 years of experience, this is what I do. You owe it to yourself to get the look that you want, the sharpness and the precision, just like you want it. Come on by Heads Up Barbershop and Salon and check out Mr. Clippers. It will be my pleasure to give you the service that you deserve.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of Let's Take a Walk. I hope everybody had a great, safe week. I did, and as usual, I tell the same joke every week, but it just kind of flew by. I went to sleep on Sunday and woke up, it was Friday. But, you know, we're here, we all safe, we're here together, and so, you know, here we are. And as usual, Let's Take a Walk is bringing you the most interesting, the most boss-like, the most business-minded folks that we can find, and tonight is no different. Tonight we welcome Miss Shannon Nelson. She is an entrepreneur, she is an author, and just a all-around boss lady. We're going to sit down with her and talk about her recent work and everything that she has going on. For those of you who may not be familiar with Miss Shannon and her movement, I'm going to give her a couple of minutes to kind of reintroduce herself and give a little background to who she is and some of the things that she has going on. So with that being said, you have the floor, Miss Shannon.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you so much for having me on your show. I truly appreciate
Absolutely.
it. As Mike has told you, my name is Shannon Nelson. I am born and raised of Jacksonville, Florida. So Duval is my home. However, I have relocated to Tampa, Florida, so that I could pursue my education at University of South Florida. Recently, I have had the opportunity to write a book, and the title of the book is All Is Well, Even If It Ain't. And in that, I share my season of wilderness and what all it was like for me and what it took for me to get through it. And so tonight, I'll be sharing about that journey.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's start from the beginning. We'll start from the literary part. So what made you write a book? Tell us a little bit about your book. First of all, what's the name of your book?
So the title of it is All Is Well, Even If It Ain't. That's the title of it.
Okay.
And the book is basically going through the past few years that I have been in a season of wilderness, and where I actually have lost, where I feel that there was a loss of 10 family and friends in the past 2 years. And included in that 10 included my late husband and my mother. So just having one of them was hard for me. To lose both of them, what I felt was tragic. Not only that, after going through that season, I also ended up having a cancer diagnosis and had to go through a season of chemotherapy and everything that goes along with that journey. So the past 2.5 years of my life has been consumed with the loss of family members and friends, and then that season of being diagnosed with cancer and going through chemotherapy. The reason why I chose to write the book is I feel like so many times it's easy for us to share the end of the journey. We share the testimony, but we don't share what it's like to go through the test. And I feel like if some of us would be open enough to share what it was like during that test and how you got through it, it may encourage someone else that is going through a journey of their own. So I wanted to write the book to encourage others that if I can make it, you can make it too, and that there really is the other side of better. We just got to get through the test so that we can get to that other side. So that was the inspiration for the book.
Mm. So, what would you say has been the biggest change in your life since you finished and put the book out?
I think the biggest change is that God is still working on me. So literally, even after I finished my chapter in the book, it was still like God was still ministering to me. He was still telling me things. And then I would be like, oh, that is good. God, I wish I had a wrote that in the book. And I wish I could tell this and I wish I could tell that. But it just it further lets me know of the growth of the relationship that he and I shared, because I now realize how distant I was from him when I look at the very beginning of my season of wilderness. And I know that if it had not been for me coming back to him in a real way, that I never would have been able to get through the storm. So the biggest thing for me is actually seeing my growth, seeing who I am becoming after everything has happened, and I am having to create a new normal for myself without my loved ones, without my late husband, without my mom. After going through chemotherapy and all the changes that it brings to your body, and now at a place where I can say, okay, God, what else do I need to learn? And what else am I supposed to do with what I have learned in this journey that I'm going through?
Wow. Wow. I don't, you know what? I mean, the story is so inspirational. I'm really like at a loss. I have so much and I don't know
Mm.
kind of where to, you know,
Where to
where to go
begin?
with it. Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go
No,
ahead,
ask me
please
what
do.
you can ask me whatever you want to know. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. And even though, I hear people say, it when they hear bits and pieces of the story, that it's amazing and it's wonderful. And I'm going to be honest, for me, those probably aren't the adjectives that I would use to describe that season, because to be honest, it was just downright hard. It was difficult.
Mm,
And I shed a many of tears. And even now this morning when I got up and I thought about, everything that had went on, I had a moment, and I have to learn that that's okay to have a moment. The
right.
thing is, don't stay in your moment, but have that moment. Um it was hard. It was just downright difficult. There were times that literally I did not know if I was going to make it. I did not know when the pain, I often asked God when the pain was going to end, because it felt like I was just drowning. Like
Mm,
every time I made a move to step forward, I felt like something else would happen that would crush me and make me fight even harder to get through. When it started beginning, when I started losing family and friends, I didn't even understand what was going on until I went to church right after my mother passed. And um, the lady over the prayer ministry actually told me, she said, you are in a season of wilderness, and the only way that you will get through this is if you get back to the relationship that you had with God before. And when she said that, to be honest, I really thought she was just talking about losing my mother at that
mhm,
moment, because that was what had just happened within days. I had no idea that it was going to continue even after my mother. So to even get the cancer diagnosis was kind of like, you got to be kidding. I can't, nothing else can happen in my life in this year. I'm tired. I was physically and emotionally tired, but I think part of that was because I was trying to carry it myself. I was trying to get through all of the hurt and all of the pain and all of the aggravation and all of the frustration alone, instead of connecting to the all powerful one, instead of connecting to the source that can
Mhm.
heal and can restore. And it wasn't until I stopped fighting him because I was angry.
Right.
And sometimes we don't like to say that.
Right.
We're angry with God,
Right.
but I was angry. I had lost so many different family members and I was just mad. I had lost my husband and I thought we was going to do this thing forever and he was
Right.
gone. So I was mad. I lost my mother and I didn't know how to function without her because I had her my
Right.
whole life. How do you do this thing called life when your mom is gone and when your best
Right.
friend is gone and now the doctor is saying you got to go through chemotherapy? And I'm like, okay, but my two people are gone, God. So like, what do I do? And it wasn't until I could be honest with him and say, okay, I'm mad. I'm mad that they're gone. I'm mad that it hurts. I'm mad that I don't know what to do next and I don't know how to feel better. And
Mhm.
literally, it was when I could be honest with him and say those words that he already knew. I literally felt like I was free. I could
Wow.
physically feel a sense of freedom when I said those words out my mouth to him, because then that's when the work could begin, because I
Wow.
could be receptive to what he wanted to say to me. And instead of seeing the shackles, instead of seeing just death when I thought of all my loved ones, I was able to see things with a clearer mind. I was able to go before him and just be like, just show me what. I no longer want to be in control of this thing called life because I have learned I can't do this. I can't do this on my own. I need you to help me on this journey so that I can become a better person. And that's what's happening. He is changing me to become a better person in the midst of everything that has gone on. I'm becoming.
That's amazing. That is truly amazing. Yeah, I think that we all kind of try to navigate between those two dynamics where, I believe that there are things that we overcome and there are
Mhm.
things that we endure. And
Yeah,
sometimes, as Christians, we are conditioned to believe in overcoming all the time.
mhm,
So
mhm.
when bad things happen, we automatically go into overcome mode. When in actuality, we are
We
meant
got
to
to endure
endure.
that. Yeah, we got to
You know what
walk
I'm
through.
saying?
Yeah,
So
we got to feel it all. Yeah.
right, and so and then the process, equips us for what the process equips us for the purpose, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
so but like I said, as men and women of faith, we have been conditioned to, um, like I said, overcome, be victorious. Okay,
Mhm.
this bad situation comes up. We get bad news. So, okay, God, show me how to overcome this. When actuality, like you said, to your point earlier, he wants you to learn. He wants you
Yes.
to go through in order to become who you need to become, and so that you can reach whoever it is that you need to reach, or do whatever it is that you're meant to do, i.e., your book. So
Absolutely. I had to learn
that's
this
truly
before. Yes.
that's truly awesome. Um, I lost my mom also from COVID
Okay.
2 summers ago, and I
Mhm.
absolutely know how you feel. To this day I feel like my arm is missing.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
but one of the things that it really taught me was perspective. And
Absolutely.
what I mean by that is like a lot of things that I was hung up on, a lot of things that were upsetting to me, a lot of things that that I even felt guilty or convicted of. You know what I'm saying? I realized that nothing could compare to that loss. Nothing else really mattered. So in a manner of speaking, a weight was lifted. You know what I'm saying? When you gain that, it's you gain that clarity, and you can
Absolutely.
go through these things, and while other people are like, man, how are you able to smile, or how are you able to be this strong or whatever? But something clicks,
Yes,
something
that
clicks in your
perspective
mind.
is something else. It will change once you change your mind. Then you can have all the clarity in the world, and then that's when peace has the opportunity to operate in your life. So yes,
Absolutely.
it was during
Absolutely.
chemotherapy that I was able to get the strength to enroll back in school, because I had took time off after my late husband died. Then I took more time off when my mom died, and my father, I'm so grateful for him. And Dad, if you're listening, happy birthday. Today is his birthday.
Wow. Happy birthday,
And
Dad.
yes, happy birthday, Dad. See, talked about my daddy, and I lost my train of thought completely.
No,
It has
it's all
to
good.
do
Sometimes when I do these interviews, sometimes uh I have everything set up how I'm going to ask, what I'm going to do, and then it ends up not even being that. It ends up being just really tongue in cheek and really free flowing. So and there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with
and
that.
that's what this is going to be.
Those turn out to be the best ones. Let me ask you this. Um, did the is the book before you release the book? Let's say maybe the day before you release the book, you had in your mind, you probably had an idea in your mind of what you wanted it to do or be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess my question is, once you released it, did it become what you had in your mind,
So
or
now,
was it bigger, or what I'm saying, was how different was it between what actually happened versus what you imagined in your mind?
the book is actually not going to be released until the end of this month on February 25th.
Okay, got
Um,
it.
but this is what I can tell you. Even in that aspect, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And to be honest, to even be where I'm being interviewed prior to the book, I didn't see that coming. And I've
Okay.
had more people wanting to hear the story than I think I was actually even prepared for,
Mm-hmm.
to talk about. I've had people tell me that this was going to happen, but it's one thing to hear that it's going to happen, and then it's another thing when it actually takes place. And
Right.
so it's actually taking place that people want to hear the story. And I don't even
Mm-hmm.
think it's necessarily the story that people want to hear, more as people want to know, how'd you get through it? Like, to
Mm.
hear 10 people died from January of 2020 to October of 2022. And in the midst of all of that, you had a cancer diagnosis and went through chemotherapy, and all of that period of time is a lot for anybody to handle. And I know that if God had told me that that was going to happen, I would have easily said, I'll go sit in the corner and you can let somebody else
Right.
talk. I just rather not have all of that happen to me. But I can tell you, with everything that's in me, had it not happened, I don't believe that I would know God the way I am knowing him today. The
Mhm.
way that I desire to talk to him and to hear his word on a daily basis is not something that I ever had before. I
Mhm.
always wanted that desire, but it always seemed like I got caught up with life, and life was just life, and I was getting caught up in the everyday aspect of just doing stuff. And
Right.
now I genuinely want to get up and I want to commune with him and I want to have communion every day and I want to hear the word and I want to learn about grace and I want to learn how to be a support system to other people. I don't believe that I was meant to go through the journey that I went through just for myself. I genuinely believe that God knew that in order for me to be able to minister to other people, I needed to be able to have a compassion that only comes from when you going through the storm. That I
That's a
would not
fact.
be able to show empathy to other people while they are going through their circumstances had I not went through a plethora of circumstances. So even when I look back beyond this, a lot of things was not just about me. It was about this moment where I
Mhm.
would be able to assist other people. In this season made me understand that I actually wanted to be a health and wellness coach. And it
Mhm.
was not because I want to make the $5 million that people are posting on Facebook about coming life coaches and everything like that. Now
Yeah.
that's great. So don't get me wrong. I
Right.
already know what God has in store for me, but it was more about God's people and even the people who have not even had a conversation with God, that sometimes we need a support system when we are going through the storm. We need somebody to encourage us along the way, to let us know that we're not alone, that we can make it. When I start to understand what wellness meant. And it was not just the absence of illness, but it encompasses your health and your mental health and your spiritual health, as well as your physical health. It was like, that's what I want. Wellness is an experience. And after
Mhm.
being ill, I want wellness for my body, but I also want
That's a fact.
wellness for my soul. And so now I am being fed spiritually from men and women of God, but I'm also being fed when I'm learning about how to be a health and wellness coach and how to support other people along the journey because I really want people to understand too many times we get stuck in circumstances and situations that happens in our life and we're not able to get past it, so we're not able to get to the other side of better. And that's where freedom is at, and that's where peace is at, and that's where wellness is. And now that I am experiencing wellness and I'm experiencing peace, I want others to have the same opportunity. And so I'm grateful for all the things that have happened, even though it hurt. And it
Mhm.
did hurt. It hurt. It hurt. But there are a lot of us that are hurting. Just like you mentioned that your mother passed through COVID. I lost my husband because of COVID and several other family members along the way because of COVID. But because of COVID, a lot of us are hurting. A lot of us experienced so many different losses, and every loss was not a person passing away. We
Right.
lost homes, we lost apartments, we lost furniture, we lost jobs, we lost so many different things, and everybody is trying to finagle their way back through normalcy, even though we can't go back. We have to create a new normal. And I just want to be able to be a support system to others to be like, we got this, you got this.
Yeah.
Those goals that you have in mind, you can accomplish them. And I am here to walk along with you, not to be over you, but to walk right by your side to say, you got this.
Wow. That the whole COVID thing, that going back to perspective, even though, I lost my hero, what I'm saying, my best friend, you know what I mean? There are a lot of things that, I experienced and that I learned. This very podcast was birthed during the pandemic. It was something that,
Mm-hmm.
that I always kind of had a mind to do. I felt like I wanted to do, but there was never enough time or never the right opportunity. But
Mm-hmm.
with, the blessing of technology and, modern stuff, here we are. I feel
Absolutely.
like, again, going back to perspective, you actually said something that was so profound. You said that wellness is an experience. I think that that's something that I won't soon forget. Like that
Mhm.
was we could end the interview just off of that. You know what I'm saying? Wellness is an experience. I want if y'all are watching this, hashtag that. Wellness is an experience. Hashtag put that in the comment section. Hashtag wellness is an experience. It's something that's ongoing. I often ask, I've had other health and wellness coaches on here, and I ask them, is it truly possible? Is it humanly possible for a person to be perfectly well? And what I
Perfect.
mean by that is, like you were saying, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally. Is it possible for somebody to be a person to be perfectly well in every aspect of their life? Do you or is that the goal?
I think that is the goal. And so every day it is about being on that journey towards being at your optimal health, at your optimal wellness. In spirit, we already know that we can't know everything that is there under the sun. And so as a Christian, we're growing daily. The more we have the word, the more we're reading it, the more we fast, the more we pray, the more we commune with God. So I think it is a journey, it is an experience that we continue to be on every single day. But I don't ever believe that there's going to be just that one day that you're going to be like, okay, I've arrived.
Okay.
No. No, but I think that's going to be an ongoing goal that we all have, is to experience wellness. Now, I do believe that you can experience wellness. And so, and there are still going to be some areas that you still may need to work on better than others. But I
Mhm.
still believe that in the journey of being educated and understanding yourself more and loving yourself and honoring God, that we can be on our way to optimal wellness.
Wow. That's truly awesome. Let's talk about um oftentimes when I speak to people that are doing things that like what you're doing, right? I give them this question. Um we have people in our life, and let me start by saying these are not haters. These people are not haters that I'm about to tell you. These are not haters. These are people that genuinely feel like they have your best interests at heart. So
Okay.
on one side, you have a group of people that say, "Hey, Shannon, I knew some people that were trying to do what you're doing right now, and it didn't really work out for them. They lost a lot of money, they lost a lot of time. It just really didn't go good for them. So maybe you might want to rethink this thing, or maybe revisit it later." But then
Okay.
on the other side, you got people that'll say, "Hey, Shannon, look, you're moving too slow. You need to be on more podcasts. You need to make your own podcast. You need to do this. You need to be up here like this person or that person or the other person or whatever." So on one side, you got a person that's saying that you're doing too much, that's saying you're doing too much, but then you got a group on this side that is saying you're not doing enough. Is that something that you've had to deal with through your process?
So I haven't had many people to say I shouldn't do it. I've just had people that will know and won't say anything. It's almost
Mm,
like they're oblivious to what's going on, or it doesn't really matter to them. And it can be people that I'm close to that don't even acknowledge it.
mhm.
And I was having a conversation with my sister prior to this, and even my significant other. We were having a conversation just a few minutes ago, and so what I say to that is this: it's not meant for them. It's not meant for them to understand. It's not their journey. Um, the platform is not for them. And that's okay, because there are enough people that it is for than it is not for. And because here's the kicker, I didn't choose this, it was chosen for me. The platform was laid, the foundation was laid for me, and God did that. So I'm going to be obedient to Him, because obedience to Him is better than anything that anybody else can ever give me. So as long as He's pleased with me, then I'm going to be okay. And so now, whatever I venture into, even when I was thinking about the health and wellness and different aspects that I was considering, I stopped. Even today, and I was like, okay, God, so this is a thought that I'm thinking. But if it's not your will that I go in this direction, then I want you to show me. So for the people that may not understand, I'm okay with, I'm not mad at you at all. You're not my audience. But for the people that is my audience, it's going to reach them. And that is enough for me. So I'm going to keep on this journey and do what I need to do.
Wow. Yeah, and the interesting thing is, like I said, these are people who they actually love you. They
And
want to
I
see
do
you
believe that.
do good.
But fear
But
will cause us not to do some things. And I
right,
can't let other people's fear stop me from
Jack,
doing
right,
what God has for me to do.
right,
Fear
right.
may be there, and I know that. And every time we step out of something that's not normal, anytime where someone wants to start a new business, yes, it's going to be some highs and lows, and it may not flow the way that you want it to flow. But then that's when we have to learn as Christians that we're supposed to be operating with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is
That's
supposed to be leading and guiding what we're supposed to be doing,
that's a
not
fact.
what family and friends say.
That's a fact.
So it's okay if they don't understand. That's okay.
That's
They'll
a fact.
see it when they need to see it.
Right. Okay, so has has there been a challenge for you? Because again, going back to the spiritual aspect of it, as Christians, we are taught to be humble, meek, unassuming, but bold at the same time. So
What a balance.
it's like when you set out to do what you have done and what you're preparing to do, has it been a challenge for you? Because sometimes when you set out to do something, sometimes it translates even to yourself that maybe you're overstepping, like, or
Mhm.
maybe you're being arrogant, or maybe you know what I mean? But has that ever been a challenge? Because I tell people all the time, there is a very thin line between humility and fear. People will disguise their fear as humility. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They'll they'll be really fearful to do something, but they'll act as though they're not doing it because they're trying to be humble. When in
It's
actuality,
fear. Yeah.
it's fear. And
Mhm.
so, is that something that you've ever like had to kind of distinguish between in your process? That thing between humility and fear, and possibly being too bold and not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I do believe that there is a balance. And I never want to come off boastful as if I think it was me. That during this journey that I made it, I conquered, I overcame, because I didn't. I was a mess. I was a hot mess. And I don't have a problem saying that part, that I was a mess and I didn't know how I was going to make it. I give all glory and honor to God. And I can't say that enough. It wasn't me. Because if it had been up to me, I probably would have got somewhere and had a seat and be like, look, Satan, I see I'm on your radar. So I'm going to just have a seat because I really don't want nothing else that you got for me. And even as I talk, fear comes up. Yes, because I'm not necessarily the person who would get out on podcasts or on Facebook Lives or on videos or write books or anything of that nature. I am the helper. I am the background person that will help everybody else get situated and then put you out in the front. So to have the roles reversed is scary. It is. But when I tell you that God has been so good to me, because I could have lost my mind. And that is the absolute truth. I could have lost my mind. I remember moments after being told that I was going to have to go through chemotherapy and sitting in the dark trying to go to sleep. And I would literally see a casket in front of me. And I was like, I'm going to end up dying. Like, this is what's going to happen to me. This is how it's going to end for me. This is my story, that I went through all of that and then I died. And that was probably the worst feeling in life ever. So for me to do this is me saying, this is how amazing God is, that I want to tell everybody this so that you can know God is awesome. And I want to help other people so much so that they can experience peace in the midst of their circumstances, so that they can keep going, so that they can experience wholeness, so they can experience God's love, because it was in my darkest times that I experienced him, not the God that my daddy served, not the God that my mama served or my sister served, but I have learned him for who he is for myself. And I know that he loves me. Like, he loves Shannon. And I needed that. I needed to experience him. So now I'm grateful to tell anybody and everybody that'll listen, baby, God is a beautiful thing. And I can't walk this life without him anymore. I'm not going to try. I don't fight it. I need him every step of the way. I need the Holy Spirit every morning. I ask him to go into rooms before me. I ask him to talk for me. I ask him to talk through me. Now, I make mistakes after mistakes, day after day, but it is not because it is not without me asking him for help, and not without me asking him to forgive me. And I know that the more that I spend time with him, the better off I will be. And I feel like this is too amazing not to help other people experience what it's like to get to the other side of better.
Wow. You know, I hear people say all the time, and I heard you say it too, I almost lost my mind, right? But you know, I feel like the Holy Spirit just told me, you did lose your mind.
I did. You're
and
right.
But here's the thing. That's what he wants you to do. He wants you to lose your mind.
So that he can take over.
His mind, so that his mind can overwhelm and overtake you. So it's like, when I hear people say that, you know what I mean? I almost lost my mind. It's just that just gives me a whole different, perspective of it.
Mm-hmm.
But, going forward, I mean, you have had an amazing journey up to, up to this point. So let me ask you this. Who are you? At this point at this point in Miss Shannon's life, who are you? And is it a struggle? Or not, I shouldn't say struggle, I don't use that word. Is it a challenge to have the clarity to know who you are in this moment? Because and I ask that because you're an author, you're an entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying? You are a servant of God. You do so many things. But that's what you do.
Yeah, that's what I do. Who I
But
am,
who are you?
I'm learning. I don't know who she is. I can tell you that she is becoming a new creature. I know that what who I used to be is not who I am now. I know that the Shannon who was around in January of 2020 is not the same creature that you sit before you. Um, but I think that I am still becoming, I am being poured into still. I am still learning about who I am and who God desires me to be. So I can't even wrap that up in one sentence. Shannon is becoming, and everybody has to stay tuned to find out who she becomes.
Wow. Okay. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that for now. I'll take that for now.
I don't want to put no caps on what God has in store for me. And so
Right.
if I start talking about who I believe I am, what he sees and what I see is not the same. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to put no caps on God. Caps
Right.
are off. So Shannon is becoming. I
Right.
am I am becoming.
I
It's
tell I, I tell people this too, that have come on here too, especially people of color. It's so important. I hope that you realize how important what you're doing is. Not just from a standpoint of what you can accomplish and what God is doing. Those things are understood.
okay.
But the standpoint I'm talking about is from a perspective of that little girl or that little boy who may look and not see examples, alternatives to what they're seeing right now. There's just not enough, there's not enough light being shined on the people that are right next to us. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
know, certain authors or whatever, if Bishop Jakes, God bless him, he puts out a book, boom, all
Everybody
eyes are on
know
it,
about
lights on it,
yeah.
Joel Osteen, Joyce Myers, whoever, you know what I'm saying? But there's not enough light being shined on, and which is one of the reasons why one of the biggest reasons why I was led to do this podcast, to give people like yourself a platform. You know what I'm
Thank you.
saying? To come on and say, here, I'm doing this right here. I'm among you guys. You can reach out and touch me. You can DM me on Facebook if you want to, or
Absolutely.
whatever the case.
Absolutely.
So my point is like, I hope that you, in the midst of all you're doing, right, understand that it's not just important because of the purpose per se. It's also important because we need to see it. Our children need to see it. Those that aspire to do what you're doing need to see it. They need to have the example to say, so when somebody says, oh, you can't do that. Well, shoot, Shannon did it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I seen Shannon did it. She overcame this, and she even wrote a book, a great book. I can do it too. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, a lot of times the light and the attention only gets shined on those that have the huge machine behind them and all that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm
Right.
not
Right.
disparaging that at all. But I think that what you're doing and who you are and the vocation that you've chosen puts you in a position to affect a lot of people without even really saying, by just being, just existing. You are putting people, you are inspiring and educating and being an example just by being. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand that. They don't necessarily see that. They just see, hey, I'm writing this book because God led me to write this book. You know what I'm saying? That's great too. That's awesome. That's the best. But you just understand that there's a remnant and there is a group that is attached to you, even the ones that you have never met or may never meet. You know what I'm saying? You are super important to them. What would you say is the most common misconception that people has about Miss Shannon Nelson?
I don't think people really know that I'm genuine in the aspect that I really want everybody to have a good life. Like, that's not just something that we hope and wish. We wish for peace on earth, and we say that, but we generally don't mean it. But that I genuinely want every individual on this earth to reap the harvest, that I want every individual to experience wellness, to be happy, to be whole. I don't want people to suffer. And I think people may feel like it just sounds good, but it's really my hope for people. I come from a family that you're either a pastor, an apostle, you're a teacher, you're in social services. We have a servant's heart, and genuinely, I want to serve. I did not understand that when I was younger. I thought being a servant required you to wait on people. But it encompasses so much more. And so I genuinely have a servant's heart, and I desire for people to experience God in a real way. And that's genuine. If I could literally help every person, yeah, I would. I would. And it's not for glory. It's just because we're his people, and I just believe that it is okay for us to be happy. There's enough hate going on in the world that I
Right.
want everybody to be happy, to enjoy
Right.
life.
And that's not to I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, as Christians, sometimes in our effort to be meek and holy and submissive and humble and all that, we forget to be happy because we're trying to decrease as he increases, but we decrease so much to the point where, like, it's almost depressing. Like, you're
Yeah.
almost, you know what I mean? So, that's very, that's a very good point. Going forward, if you could write the story, if you could, in your perfect mind of thinking, where do you see Shannon Nelson Enterprises going? That the empire that God is allowing to be built within Shannon Nelson. Where do you see it going? Global, international. What do you see?
I would want to be able to help others experience wellness on an international level. I want us to understand that too many times we get caught up in just pieces of our lives instead of understanding that it encompasses so much more. And
Mhm.
so there is the spiritual aspect, and there is the physical aspect, and there is the mental and the emotional aspect. And I believe that if we all individually worked on those aspects for ourselves, that we could be a better nation, a better world. We could be a better community to one another. We would be more pleasant to one another. We would be able to all have a servant's heart if we got to that place where we felt well. And I think so many times we just don't feel good, whether we're
Right.
bogged down with the pressures of life, or
Right.
we're sick, or
Right.
we're unhappy in relationships. I don't think that enough of us are experiencing wellness in our lives right now. And so I would want to be able to be on a platform where I could push wellness and push wholeness for all of us so that we could all be better people. And that's what I would want. That's what I would
Mm.
want.
Awesome. That's good. That's really good. I think that wow. As I said earlier, I think that it's super important that we understand our place in whatever it is that we're being led to do and how important it is. And you were talking about how, we are unhappy in our relationships, and sometimes we go through things, but sometimes we are even messed up in our happiness. Like, I would say, and what I mean by that is, like, okay, like I was telling you, my mom passed away, right?
Mhm.
And that really did a number on me. It really, but over time, I began to come to grips with it. I began to have peace with it. I began to,
Mhm.
understand that this is the will of God and all that. But to the point where I would catch myself smiling, right? But
Mhm.
feeling guilty for smiling. I'm not
Survivor
supposed.
guilt.
Right. You're feeling guilty because you're feeling guilty about having peace. You're feeling guilty about, how can you be happy when all this stuff is happening, going on around you or whatever? You have to, and it's crazy that you have to protect that, because people will even look at that and look at what you're going through. People are probably upset with you for not being depressed, for not curling up, you know what I'm saying? Curling up in the
I
corner
mean,
and dying.
that is an option, but
You know,
it's not gonna bring me happiness. It's not gonna bring me peace. And so, and that is not even the will of God.
right.
So he wants to give us that peace that nobody else can comprehend and that nobody else can give you while you're going through the storm. So that was an option for me, and I had days where I didn't want to do anything and I didn't feel like being bothered with everything. But my dad, he's a cool dude, and I'm grateful for him knowing God, because then he knows how to talk to us. And so one of the things he told me after the diagnosis was that I needed to write down my long-term goals and my short-term goals. Now, dad is a man of few words, so he didn't say anything else after that. So I wrote them down and I did absolutely nothing with it because he didn't give me any other instructions. And it just sat on a piece of paper.
Right.
Um, but as time went on, the spirit started dealing with me as to why I was supposed to write down my long-term goals and my short-term goals, because I was sitting at home focused on my circumstances and everything that was going on, and I wasn't focused on my future. I wasn't focused on the other side and what it was going to be like to be done with this, because this was just a season of my life. This wasn't my life. This wasn't the end, and I was focusing on the wrong things. And so once I started writing those things down, then I was ready to accomplish those, and I was ready to hit it, and I was ready to figure out what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. And I wanted to commune with God even more so that I could have more clarity as to what am I supposed to be doing. And because of that, I graduate with my bachelor's degree in May of this year, because I kept fighting even in the midst of it, even when it was hard. And God knows it was difficult, and I'm sure I got on my family and friends' nerves during that time frame. But once I got a hold of what my dad was trying to inspire in me, that's when I took off. And that's when I could see life beyond the right now, beyond the wilderness. I could get excited again. And I no longer focused on that stuff. And the amazing thing is that, and I want to be able to tell this, I was diagnosed and healed at the same time. When I
Wow.
woke up from surgery, from having the tumor removed, what my father told me was they found cancer and they removed it,
Mm,
but you may have to go through a little of chemotherapy. So I didn't even have to go through the diagnosis process that many men and women have to go through, all of the testing and everything. They
wow.
found it, and it was technically consumed in a tumor, and they were able to get that tumor out of my body and remove it. And so I'm grateful, because for a period of time I was stuck on the diagnosis and
Right.
not the healing.
Wow.
And when I started grasping the healing part, was when I really started experiencing God.
Wow.
And it's about the perspective. Like you said, it's what you're looking at. And so I had to learn to change my mind, and change my mind as often as I had to, so that I stayed on focus with my future and not my present.
Wow. That's amazing. That's true. That is truly, truly, truly amazing. That is truly amazing. Um, like I said, since we started this interview, I just kind of been at a loss. I'm usually very, very prepared, but I just really was not prepared tonight. But in a good way though. In a good way. Um, I only have one official question left for you. And see, I told you that, you said that you were nervous, but I'm telling you, it just really, really flies by. And like I said, I could talk to you for another hour. But
Yeah.
but that's how it is when you are truly genuine and you truly speaking about something that you're passionate about and that you truly are invested in. You know,
Yeah.
um, this is a question that I ask all my guests, and so I just want you to take a moment and think about it and give me the most honest and transparent answer that you could possibly give me. Okay?
Hey.
And here is the question: what would have to happen in your life, if it hasn't happened already, for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically?
It happened. Um, when I was younger, probably in my early 20s, um, a lady at my home church in Jacksonville prophesied that I would be a great woman of God. I am experiencing God. And for me, having Him, I have everything that I need. Everything else comes after knowing Him. And so, on this journey of being with God, that is success for me. Knowing that I know that I know that I know that He loves me, and knowing that I am not alone, no matter what I face on this earth. I got it. And so him is all the wealth, in him is all the peace, in him is all the joy and all the happiness that I could ever have. And what I've always wanted was to experience him. And I did. And I am.
Wow. Wow. That is awesome. So with that being said, if somebody was watching this interview and wanted some clarity on something that you said, maybe they want you to kind of explain to them, or maybe they have questions about the book or the health and wellness. I'm not a prophet or anything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my pastor says to stop saying that.
Okay.
But wellness is an experience. I'm being led to tell you to run with that. Wellness is an experience. I don't know if it's some type of conference. I don't know if it's a t-shirt. I don't know if it's whatever. But wellness is an experience. You need to dive into that. I feel the Holy Spirit telling me to tell you to dive into that, because that is a profound statement. I've never heard that before. Wellness is an experience.
I wrote that today, and so you just confirmed that I was supposed to run with it. So thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what is. I don't know what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's between you and God. But I would say, investigate that.
Okay.
But back to what I was saying. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, get some advice or whatever the case, how can they get in touch with you?
So my Facebook my name is Shannon Presha, which is spelled Presha Nelson. And I'm going to make sure that I post it on your page as well. My IG, which I'm learning what my IG is, it is Shannon, P as in Paul, N, 2K. And my website for my book is www.alliswellevenifitain't.company.site.
Awesome. Somebody's saying step into that prophet.
Well, then that's what you need to be doing.
That's hilarious, but okay. Again, I want to thank you for coming on the platform. I really, truly appreciate it. I actually got a little bit more than what I bargained for tonight, but that is an awesome. That's a great thing.
Yes. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Mike.
Is there anything that you want to leave with the people before we sign off?
So what I will share is this. I know some people may be like, what does all is well, even if it ain't means? So there is a story of a woman in the Bible, and she's married, and God gives her a child, and the child passes away. And the prophet Elijah asks her, how is she doing? And her response in the midst of what is going on in her life was, all is well with me. All is well with my house. All is well with my family. And so in life, there are going to be some things that is going to tear us down. And I believe that we have the right to declare a thing in our life. And I chose to declare all is well, even in the midst of circumstances, even when it doesn't look like it.
think you froze. I think she froze for a second. Um, this this is an amazing. This has been an amazing interview. I hope that you have been touched by it, man. This is. I don't know if y'all can hear her, but I can't hear her. Her screen is frozen at this point, which is crazy because oh, she went off. Okay. Um, Hopefully she'll come back on for a second. But that was an amazing interview. Like I said, I got a little bit more than a lot of bit more actually than what I bargained for. I I encourage people all the time to walk in whatever it is that they're feeling led to walk in, whether it be a book or a script or a song or a degree or whatever. You know what I mean? If you're feeling led to do it, you need to do it because everything is connected. Everything is connected. Everything that I do is somewhere down the line connected to what you do, and vice versa, and all the way down the road. And ultimately, we're trying to create a unified kingdom. Um, so it's important that everybody does what they're led to do according to what God leads them to do. Um, as we said in the interview, we talk about there's a thin line between humility and fear. And a lot of us, we camouflage our fear with humility. We don't want to admit that we're fearful. So we'll cloak ourselves in humility to seem like, we're trying to shy away from the limelight or the responsibility or whatever because we don't feel worthy or whatever the case. But like I said, we cloak ourselves in that humility when in actuality it's fear. And so we need to like rip that off and expose it so that, we can work on that and become bold and go forth in the way that we should, that we all should. And I'm speaking to myself as well. I'm eating the candy. I'm putting the medicine in the candy and I'm eating it too. So with that being said, man, I really thank you guys for coming on and checking us out. Please please tell a friend to watch the playback. If you want to watch, please watch. I encourage you to please watch the playback and listen. Do your thing. Look, I want to encourage you guys. I have recently become. I've got enough views. I got enough content, I guess, to monetize here on the social media. And oh, hold on. Shannon, you there?
I'm here. I just have no idea what happened. Oh, I'm sorry. I have no idea what happened.
No problem. No problem. I was just telling the viewers how much this really this really did for me, and I'm sure it did for a lot of people. And I encourage everyone to share this interview with their Facebook friends. Post it, share it. It's on YouTube as well. You can watch it. Just click right in Let's Take a Walk featuring Shannon, Presha, Nelson in the search engine, and it'll pop right up. Please share it. I've been blessed to be able to monetize now. I got enough content and all that. And so I'm encouraging people, if you see at the top of the comments, there's a message that deals with stars. The stars are 99 cents. You can buy as many as you want, and it supports this platform. So I'm asking. I've never asked before. I don't really feel comfortable, but this is one of those moments where you have to step out and be bold. So I'm gonna do that. The stars are like 99 cents. You can buy as many as you want or whatever, and it goes into this platform and this movement. We're definitely trying to improve and grow, get new cameras, all that type of stuff, and just trying to grow. You know what I'm saying? And in a spirit of excellence and all that. But I am so glad that you're back. I want to thank you again for coming on the platform. I truly appreciate it. I know that you could be doing a gazillion other things, but you are here with us. And I just really, really appreciate it. And as much as we spoke about today, I know that we probably only scratched the surface. We barely scratched the surface because I really, really wanted to dive into the book and more into the book and stuff like that. But it went where it was supposed to go.
Okay.
When I was saying to you, did you have any last words? Your screen froze and we couldn't hear anything.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I'm gonna give you a moment to if you have any last words, I'm gonna give you another opportunity to go.
Okay, so you heard nothing of what I said?
Nothing.
Wow. Okay, we're gonna try it again. So I was sharing why I titled the book All Is Well, Even If It Ain't. So there is a woman in the Bible that is married and God provides a child for her. The child passes away. And she goes to the prophet Elijah, who her and her husband have had him in their home. And he asked her how she's doing. And she could have responded with, my child is gone. I'm depressed. I'm sad. She could have said a plethora of things, but what she said was a declaration. And that was that all is well for me. All is well for my house. All is well for my family. And so even in the midst of chaos, I had to learn to declare all is well. Even when it didn't feel like it, even when I didn't understand it, I declared that all was well until it resonated with me and it became what I believed. And so to everyone, I ask you and I tell you that you can declare a thing to make it so as well. And that is to declare for yourself and for your life that all is well. And so for me, during that journey, I learned that all is well, even when it ain't.
Wow. You said a mouthful. Okay. Again, I want to thank you for gracing us on the platform, and I want you to consider this an open invitation. If there's anything that you want to promote, anything that you want to share, anything that you want to talk about, consider this, a home away from home. You can come on, just let me know and I'll make it happen.
And know that I will be back. I will be back.
Absolutely. This is an open invitation. What I would like to do later on, maybe next month, I wanted to do a panel for authors. I wanted to do a show of nothing but authors to just talk about the process of creating, a work for people to read on. I would love to have you on it. But we'll talk about that offline.
Okay.
But again, I thank you, and I don't want to hold you any longer. But again, I thank you again, and I wish you much blessings on everything that you have going on and everything that you're going to have going on. I wish you much blessings on that, and I thank everybody that chose to come on and support and watch tonight and all of that. And please, like I said, watch the playback. Go to YouTube also and subscribe.
Yes,
we're trying to get us
already subscribed.
Yes, we're trying to get the subscribers up on YouTube as well. So please go on YouTube, type in "Let's Take a Walk" featuring Shannon, Presha, Nelson, and it's on the little ticker. It's saying it on the little ticker as well. So go on there and please subscribe. So that's my little spiel. Again, I thank you. I don't want to hold you any longer. You have an awesome weekend and an awesome week. And we definitely will be in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you again.
No problem at all. You have a good night.
You too.
There you have it, y'all. We're going, awesome interview tonight. One of them ones. I'm not even gonna hold you. I learned a lot, and I plan on watching this again. And I need to watch this again. Sometimes you miss stuff even when you're even in the midst of it. I implore you guys to do the same. Excuse me. So with that being said, man, I wish you guys a great rest of the evening, great weekend, and a great week. And I will see you guys next week when we have another amazing and awesome guest coming. All right. Talk to you later. Thank you again. Mr. Clark.
If you live in or plan to visit the great state of South Carolina and you find yourself anywhere near the Myrtle Beach area, you owe it to yourself to check out Mr. Clippers at Heads Up Cuts and Styles Barbershop and Salon, located at 110 El Bethel Road in the big city of Conway, South Carolina. I'm talking about the place where great staff, great atmosphere, and professionalism all come together. Yes, it's definitely a vibe. We service all ages and all hair types. To book an appointment, just head on over to mrclippers.booksy.com. Again, that's mrclippers.booksy.com. You can check out my work, you can check cost of services, and most importantly, check out those reviews. Man, I'm telling you, 5 stars. Listen, as a licensed professional barber with over 20 years of experience, this is what I do. You owe it to yourself to get the look that you want, the sharpness and the precision, just like you want it. Come on by Heads Up Barbershop and Salon and check out Mr. Clippers. It will be my pleasure to give you the service that you deserve.